you tell me, how do your clinicians ensure that the evaluation process remains professional, ethical, and unbiased?
Of course, to keep the process professional and unbiased, we focus on three things, and I'm very strict on this, clinical competence, ethic, and cultural awareness. I keep mentioning cultural awareness. You have no idea how many tests came across PECGNA. I have to you're not supposed to be using PAI and MMPI on this person. You cannot use PAI or MMPI on me. I'm not a native English speaker. I'm not from a Western culture. People need to understand how to use the protocols better. They need to study about the test norms, right? That is what PECGNA stand out. We go out testing psychologists here. And third is require qualified evaluator who understand assessment at the clinical level, not just reading the test score, a printout test score that make no, because the printout test score sometimes it make no sense, inaccurate. But knowing validity, timing, and when a tool may not be appropriate. Timing, I mean for example, you're not supposed to be repeating the same test within 6 to 12 months because test validity. Not many people are aware and overlook, right? I have received cases that this GC just got PAI done last month and they're asking for the PAI again, and then I have to contact them you can't do that. It's unethical and it's invalid. We really want to understand their story and their psychological functioning. You need to know about the timing of giving the test. We have to know when to switch to the equivalent test, so to MMPI, and then when they are from diverse background, that when it's not appropriate to use the test, it's useless, it's expensive. Our goal is to get to know the person in front of us. That's why we're using the right tool to get to know them. It's like using an X-ray when you have a broken leg. If you don't use the right X-ray, you cannot see where the leg is broken. It's the same thing when you're choosing the testing protocol, right? And then beside that, especially across language or culture differences, this is huge. This is direct experience. We rely on clinical judgment and integrate testing with the interview and context. We follow ethical standard. We follow ASRM and APA guideline as well, staying neutral and focusing on readiness, not trying to influence the outcome. Cultural awareness is critical. People express things differently, and we have to make sure we truly understand the person, not misinterpreting them. At the end of the day, it's about making sure the evaluation is accurate, fair, and truly reflect the person as a whole person. The evaluator have to be trained not to get stuck with one little minor area and reject them so what, they have mental health disorder 20 years ago, but she has been such a good person, strong for the past 20 years. You have to look at the person in front of you as a whole human being and truly understand, looking into their psychological functioning at a deep emotional level, like an X-ray.
Oh, that's incredible that your clinicians are so skilled that they can do a variety of testing and really look at the whole person instead of one size fits all, because one size doesn't fit every human.
Right. We call that, cultural encapsulations. But you have to understand, when you are interviewing an Asian person, they look down, they laugh it off when they're stressed. It's not that they're not stressed. The more they laugh, the more stressed they are. You have to be able to catch the clue, or sometimes symptoms exhibit very differently across culture. Asian people, when they're stressed, they have stomach ache, or they like to look away. It's not that they're disrespectful, but they're just not comfortable talking to a psychologist. And that's why PECGNA, we try our hardest not to add an interpreter in the room. Nothing wrong with the interpreter, but imagine, like, they already don't want to see me and you add a third person, they even worse, right? So that's why at PECGNA, as you can see, like, I try my very best to connect with international team or multilingual team, because I really want to give that safe space to my client, especially from different culture, to just talk to my psychologists who came from their background, speaking that language, pour their heart out. And even that is hard to build rapport, especially with Asian client. I can speak with that because I'm Asian. And that's why when interpreter come in, like, the quality drop. Not the interpreter is not good. It's just they don't want the third person to hear about their personal medical history and what they have been struggling with. And yeah, and we try our best to accommodate. Of course, it's never be good. It's not going to be perfect, but we do what we can.
Wow. Again, one more example of PECGNA going the extra mile to make people feel comfortable and make sure that everyone is safe. That's really incredible.
And yeah, we want to make sure we protect us, we protect our partner agency too, because in this world, unfortunately, people, when they are not happy with you, they may pick on you, or like they may go sue you. Like, you have no idea, the past 2 weeks, PECGNA have received email from attorney that are presenting intended parents. Luckily, our psychological evaluation were done by a doctoral level clinical psychologist, and everything was by the rules to protect the agency.
Nice. It's nice to know that agencies and intended parents and surrogates are all protected because of the level of education and experience your clinicians have. That's really a wonderful extra layer from PECGNA.
And the most problem that I have experienced lately, the one that people getting sued the most is about discrimination, because the current political climate. You want to make sure you really use the right test, because I'm protecting you, like I'm protecting I'm protecting myself, my own professional license, and I'm protecting you. Imagine if you're like using these tests that norm for Caucasian, white American, or a Chinese person, they go sue you at the court. You don't even have a chance to even fight, because that discriminate. That's not a fair test. And if you fail them too, you're doomed.
But your clinicians know the difference and can protect everyone.
Luckily they do. Luckily my clinicians, they are from different cultural background, and we have weekly meetings and we usually exchange our experiences. And I myself, came from, multicultural, a mixture of Chinese, Thai, and of course American, and working with diverse background population through other work like forensic or neuroscience. We have to be able to recognize that. And that is very important skill that we were trained in doctoral during our internship. We were trained, the first thing that we were trained is to do case conceptualization, selecting the right protocol before you even get to do what next.
Wow, very impressive.
Let's not get
nice.
so together. Let's stay safe. Let's stay safe and let's continue, our business smoothly.
Yes, absolutely. I know that you can't really go into specific details, but could you give me some of the general concerns of red flags that clinicians have when they're doing evaluations? Just kind of big picture.
I would prefer to describe these as area that require further understanding rather than red flag. How about that? We'll just temper it down a little bit. For example,
I like that.
For example, we may explore more deeply if there is limited understanding of the person when you talk to the people. the person in front of you, it seems like she doesn't really understand what she's getting herself into. The external pressure influences to the decision, like they need this money to pay off the debt or like mortgage. High level of ongoing stress, very limited support, or difficulty coping with uncertainty, or difficulty getting along with other people. We also consider the context. For example, like financial stress or mental health history is not a problem by itself. What matters is whether the person is stable, supported, and able to cope effectively. Remember, the goal is not to exclude people, it's to make sure they are entering the process in a safe, prepared, and informed way.
That makes sense. And that really comes into the perfect segue for my last question here. So, for someone who's considering surrogacy and might be feeling really anxious about the psychological evaluation, what would you want them to know about the purpose of this process?
Yes, I would want them to know that this process is here to support and to protect them, not to judge them. And there are many ways to convey that message. Depending, you really need to learn how to build rapport with your patients. This is one of a few spaces where their emotional experience is the focus. We care about them. I care about you. They can ask questions, express concern. You can cry with me. I'm a psychologist. And take the time to reflect before making the decisions. At the end of the day, the goal is to help them feel clear, prepared, and confident. Because surrogacy is not just a medical process, it is a meaningful and life-changing journey. And there's a lot into it.
That is really an incredible purpose, trying to make sure that everyone has the clarity and the understanding of what they're signing up for. Yeah,
Yes.
I'm really impressed. PECGNA is always going over and above and doing an
We're
exceptional job in the industry.
We're just trying to uphold our ethical responsibility that we swore in when we graduated.
You're doing it well.
Mhm.
Thank you so much for the interview today.
Thank you so much, Tonya. Have a wonderful evening or day.
Thank you. You too. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.